Welcome guys to another edition of Football Family Feuds. This is the last one I'm going to be doing now on transfers because the transfer window is shut. Frank Lampard has just given his press conference and he has said that there'll be no signings. So, what a disappointment. After weeks and weeks and weeks of speculation, after being linked with player after player after player, our board once again proves how inadequate they are without getting a single player through the door. Totally unacceptable. We appeal to Cass, so all the fans' hopes were up. We thought that we were going to be able to tackle the transfer market in this window. Frank Lampard has consistently said that he needs some players in this window. The problems at Chelsea are clear for all to see. Frank's done a fantastic job with what he's had. We had a transfer ban at the beginning of the season. We lost our best player in Eden Hazard. Frank's had to integrate a lot of the younger players and he's got us into fourth spot. But when you look at the way we play at the moment, we are lacking somebody who's going to put the ball in the back of the net. Tammy Abraham does it for us, but he's still young. He's still learning his trade. We can't rely on him all the time. Obviously, he's got a late fitness test for the game tomorrow. They may play him through the pain barrier. What happens if he breaks down in the game because they rushed him back because we couldn't get another striker? We're stuck with Giroud and Michy Batshuayi. Frank Lampard clearly doesn't rate Giroud or Michy Batshuayi because if he did rate those players, they'd have had more game time. I feel sorry for Giroud. Giroud had his bags packed, ready to go. Inter Milan, Tottenham, although I wouldn't have sold them to Tottenham, Lazio, they are the few of the people, Newcastle. So we've turned down bids for Giroud. Giroud's got the Euros coming up. He needs game time. Frank clearly doesn't rate him, as I said, so otherwise he'll be playing him in more games. He doesn't suit the style of football that Frank Lampard wants to play. So now we're stuck with a player who doesn't want to be here and we're stuck with a player who the manager doesn't want. So that for me is just a disaster waiting to happen. Batshuayi is another one who's not good enough for me. His all general hold-up play, his all-round play isn't great. He scores the occasional goal coming off the bench. But for me, I wouldn't put my faith on him to start a game. If he was to start a game, I'm not going to be overly confident that he's going to produce the goods on a consistent basis. So it's just a total mess. Chelsea had the whole window to identify a striker. Or even, as I said, once we had the ban lifted, and you saw the problems, we started to see these problems from November. If you look at conversion rate, Chelsea created the second most chances after Manchester City, but have scored, number 6 or 7 in the scoring charts? We do not put chances away. Don't tell me there's no one out there who we couldn't have identified. There's a lot of players, but what we do is our normal stuff. We just mess about, going for players who we got no chance of getting, and then we start to panic with 2 or 3 days to go. Dries Merton, why are you putting in a bid for him 2 days before the window? And you're dealing with one of the most notoriously difficult owners to deal with in Laurientis at Napoli. Never going to happen. So when Dembele, obviously the guy, Alou said that wasn't happening, you move on. You don't keep trying putting in bids for him. Werner, that wasn't going to happen in January. It's hard to get players in January. I do appreciate that. But had we just moved on from our original targets and got in somebody through the door who, it doesn't have to be the best player, but it's somebody who can work to the system that Frank wants. The other disappointing thing for me as well is that we've seen our rivals strengthen. We've seen Tottenham strengthen in areas that they need. They've got the Dutch guy, I can't remember his name, the explosive winger. they've got in the Portuguese midfielder, Fernandes. Manchester United have brought in the other Fernandes, a goal-scoring midfielder who is going to be ideal for them. He's going to be strengthening them. These two teams are only 6 points behind us. What could have carried us? Would have made me confident about finishing tops four if we can have someone who can finish off all those chances that we create. A lot of people were, there's Gabigol, he was one, but people said he's not good enough. I don't know, but give him a chance. He's versatile enough. He's doing well in the Brazilian league. Would he have been able to do a job for us? I think so. Piatek, he's gone now. He's probably not a great all-round player, but can he finish? He knows where the back of the net is. Yeah. Osimhen, I reckon we could have gone in for Osimhen. I like Osimhen, but we left it too late because we were going for other targets, unrealistic targets. As we know, Lille, they're a selling club. They were willing to sell Soumare, who's one of their best midfielders. They were willing to sell him to Newcastle. I heard that they had a bid, Newcastle had a bid accepted for him, but it was a player who turned down a move. So if you go in with a decent enough bid, then Lille will sell their players. And Osimhen, I think, would have done a better job than the two that we've got in there already. Even if you look at creativity, Mason Mount, I feel sorry for him. Mason Mount had a good start to the season, and then fatigue, youth, he's gone off the boil. We have no one of that sort who can play in that number 10 role. Probably a Pulisic when he's fit, but no one else. Why don't we think about Buendia from Norwich or Berarami from Brentford? These two are decent players, and I think they'll improve our squad. Not because they come from lower teams. Look at Maddison, who Leicester bought from Norwich. He wasn't at the time when they bought him, he was a Championship player. Now he's a £70 million player. So there are players out there. If our scouts were doing their job properly, there are players out there who can come in and do a job for us and improve us as a team. And we've got one of the biggest ones. We've got a player who's staring in our face, and his name is Boga. Boga used to play for Chelsea. He's over in Italy now, and he is just putting in some stellar performances week in, week out. We've got a buyback clause of less than 10 million. Was it 10 million euros? That's a no-brainer for me. Can he come and improve the squad right now? Definitely. But yet we're going for all sorts of different players, and we've got some players, as I said, who we can get in right now. It's just so disappointing for us as supporters. The ban was lifted. Our hopes were lifted as the ban was lifted, but in true Chelsea fashion, our board once again proves himself inadequate. This board, Marina Graviskova and whoever, that clown who's doing our scouting, and the rest of them, sorry, it's time to go. So yet again, Chelsea don't fail to surprise me with this disappointing window, and I don't know why I was excited when Cass lifted the ban anyway, because I knew this would happen. In a way, I wish that the ban wasn't lifted, because at least it would have made me come to the realisation that we couldn't buy any players anyway, and then I'd have had a more relaxed persona throughout the whole of this January window. But every minute you're there checking social media or checking other sources to see whether we're going to get this player in or that player in, and it's the hope that kills you. That's all. You're living in hope that you're going to buy somebody, and it ends in disappointment time and time and time again. As I said, yet another bad window. What's that? About 6 bad windows in a row, and this board are still there. Don't get it. So anyway, what do you guys think? Put comments below. let me know, is there someone you think that we could have got who would have improved our squad? I've mentioned 3 players there. Is there anyone else that you think we could have bought who could have improved this squad for this window? Or are you happy that the club are not buying anyone in this window and being a bit more cautious and not going out and just buying anyone for the sake of it? You may be happy with that, but I don't know. But one thing I say is that if we don't finish in the top 4, it's on the board, and by not spending maybe 30 or 40 million on a player, that can cost us 80 million by not being in the Champions League next season. But we'll wait and see. So guys, that's it. I'm out. Don't forget to like, subscribe, turn on all post notifications. I'll see you on the next video.